Parsha Chayesora, something very nice from the Rebbe's father, Rabbi Yitzchok Zatzal. Rabbi Yitzchok asked a simple question, which Mefarshim asked. Avram was a very wealthy man. In the beginning of this week's Parsha, after the passing of Sarah, he buys a plot for her burial from Bnei Ches. Now, Avram, why didn't he have, from everything that he had, he didn't have a burial place for Sarah? He was a wealthy man. And also, everything in Torah is exact. Why was it Bnei Ches? Everything has a reason. And with this, Rabbi Yitzchok will explain a very interesting thing with the Ches, three things. Number one, Ches comes from the word Ches, 8, which we'll soon see. Another thing is, it comes from the word breaking, shattering. It says a posuk in Avadia. Avadia was a ger, he was a convert, and he prophesied the downfall of the nations of the world. And he writes in posuk Tes, V'chatu giberecha temon, the strong of Yemen, they will be crushed, they will be broken when Mashiach will come. And also, we'll soon see the nation of Ches is also connected to Hachiti. We say in our David, the Eibishter will give us the land from Israel. Haknani, Hachiti, Vaprizi. Hachiti is the second. So I just want to give a short Hakdama. We all know, we spoke of many times, when Hashem created the world, there was no world of concealment. Hashem concealed himself in the world that's called Olam HaToyu, and that's why there's chaos when there's concealment of Hashem. A prince from Gvura. When Mashiach will come, it will be Olam HaTikun. The world will be elevated, corrected. That's what we say in Aleinu L'Shabeach L'Saken Olam. We want to correct the world, fix the world. And one will be B'Malchus Shin Daled Yud. And at that time, we all know, there won't be any death in the world. Bila hamoves lenetzach. Death, anything opposite of life, will be swallowed up, won't be in existence anymore. So as long as we're in a world of Toyu, and we still not reach that level of the world of Mashiach, we still have death in the world. When Mashiach will come, it will be Bila hamoves, there won't be any more death. It's brought down, explains Rabbi Yitzchok, that there are certain people in this world, even though they're living in a time still before Mashiach's coming, but their life, they're on a level of, they live a Mashiach life. They live a Olam HaTikun. In general, the whole concept of death, as we said, is only in a world of chaos, of Toyu, not in the world of Tikkun. And that's what you'll see, for example, Beis Hamikdash, where Hashem was. Over there, that spot was holiness, revelation of godliness, no concealment. And that's why anything that was happened to do with death was removed, was separated. You touched a dead body or a dead rat, you couldn't go into the Beis Hamikdash. You have to purify yourself first. And that's why, in general, everything that has to do with the opposite of life was not connected to the Beis Hamikdash. The Beis Hamikdash was a place to prolong a person's life. Explains Rabbi Yitzchok, Avram Avinu, his life, even though he lived in this world and he was correcting the world, but he himself, he lived a Mashiach life. He lived a life of Tikkun. And that's why, as long as Sarah and him were living, Avram didn't think about burials. He didn't think about cemeteries. If she passed away, now it's the time that he has to think about. But he didn't have before that, not because he didn't have any money, but because he lived on a level of, there's no death, it's life. When it happened, then he bought the plot from her. Once we'll talk about this topic, I must share with you something so nice. I think a lot of people don't know this, but I'm going to share with you two things about our Rebbe. He also lived his life like that. And I want to give you two examples. I heard from a family member, there was this famous Chassid, Rabbi Ushpal. He was a teacher in Bedford and Dean, and then in Lubavitch Yeshiva, Notion Parkway. I learned by him for many thousands of students all around the world. He didn't have, unfortunately, he didn't have any children. And he wrote a book. He was the head of the Chevra Kedisha in Crown Heights, and he wrote a book called Darkei Chesed, all the laws of the mourning period, laws of Avelus. And I don't know if it was in a letter. I think he spoke about it to the Rebbe directly, and he told the Rebbe, I have no children, and after 120, this is what I'm going to leave over in this world, the work that I worked on to put together all the customs and laws which have to do with the halachas of Avelus, of mourning period. And he asked the Rebbe if the Rebbe would be willing to write a letter in honor of the Sefer. And the Rebbe answered them these words: "Wo soll ich tun? Mein Tchunes HaNefesh is zu lebendige Sachen." If I'm explaining it well, the Rebbe said, what should I do? My personality, my nature is to lively things. The Rebbe can't give a letter to a book which deals with Avelus, even though it's part of Torah, but the nature of the Rebbe was to lively things of Chaim. Same note, I heard that's the reason why in Crown Heights, the Rebbe never allowed, the Chevra Kedisha wanted to make a funeral home, and the Rebbe said, no, not in my shchuna. In Crown Heights, there will not be, and if you need, go to you can make the preparations in a different, in a different town, a different area. Same idea. They lived in a life of Chaim. Now we're going to go to Ches. You'll see such a beautiful thing. It says Rabbi Yitzchok, the Bnei Ches, Hachitim, they had burial. They are connected to the opposite of life. First of all, said Rabbi Yitzchok, Ches is 8. That's in the impure side, Bnei Ches. Avraham Avinu was Ches 8 in the positive. It's brought down in Chassidus. Avraham Avinu adds up to 248. And he was Chesed, he was kindness, he wanted to reveal revelation of godliness. If you take the word Kael, Aleph Lamed, it says in Tehillim, capital, I think, Nun Gimel, Chesed Kael Kol Hayoim. Godliness, Kael, that's God's kindness every day. Take 8 times the opposite of Ches, 8 times Kael, 8 times 31, you get to 248, the name of Avraham. To tell you, Avraham Avinu, he was the opposite of the Ches. The Tzemach Tzedek explains in the Torah, just like we have the Echod in our davening. Aleph Ches. Aleph goes in the Eibishter. Ches says in the Shulchan Aruch, we're connecting the Eibishter from the 7 worlds till down here in this physical world. 7 and 1 is 8. Shiva Rakiyim and the Oretz. This was Avraham Avinu. He said, my job is I want to connect godliness with this world. That's why his name was 8 times Kael, connecting the 7 worlds with this world, bringing on godliness into this world. Now it continues further. Says the word Ches comes to the word Vechatu, like we said before, from Avadia, in the expression of Shvira, breaking, destroying. God will destroy, will dismantle, will crush the powers of Yemen. V'chatu, showing an inyan from Toyu, where there's brokenness, it's not complete, it's not tikkun, the opposite of good. And the last thing says, Rabbi Levi, this fits so well, that everything in the order we said before in our davening, when it analyzes, when it describes in the Torah the 7 nations that lived in Israel, it says always in the order, Haknani, Hachiti, and there are 7. And it explains the Chassidus, the 7 corresponds to the 7 attributes. First is Chesed of Klippa, and then there's Hachiti, he's the second one, that's Gevura. All connected. That this Hachitim, they were the concealment of godliness, the Vachatu, the destroying of the world, and concealment of Hashem. And that's why they had burial, to show that they were connected to something of the opposite of holiness. But Avraham Avinu, the main points I want to bring out is he lived a life, a Mashiach life, a life of tikkun. But let's hope speedily nowadays there will be the Bila Amovas Lanesach, like the way a world where Hashem wants, where Hashem will wipe away all the tears, and we will only have true life.